Welcome to the Cultural Curriculum Chat podcast. And if you're watching on my YouTube channel, Mrs. Edmund's Cultural Corner, this is going to be your gateway today to heartwarming stories that celebrate the beauty of family bonds and cherished memories. So in today's episode, we are going to ride along with this enchanted story of Daisy Ramona as she embarks on thrilling adventures around the neighborhood with her Papi in the story, My Papi Has a Motorcycle. Now, you're going to join as we explore this tender relationship between a father and his daughter while discovering the rich history and vibrant culture of their beloved city. So stay tuned, be filled with love and nostalgia and the magic of shared moments when communities change for the good or the better. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, if you are new here, my name is Edmund and welcome to the show. I love sharing all things multicultural educational books, resources, and workplace strategies to create more positive change. So this story we're talking about today is titled, My Papi Has a Motorcycle, written by award-winning authors and illustrator Isabel Quintero and Zeke, Peña. This is also a Pura Belpre Honor Book Award winner as well. Oh, this book gives me all the feels, y'all. It is such an amazing story between Daisy Ramona and her dad. She loves the bond in their everyday tradition of riding Papi's motorcycle after he gets home from work, after school, and she learns how he is a hardworking man. He is a contractor in their city and in California, Corona, California. And as soon as she hears his truck start to come up the driveway, she's ready to go. She's looking and tinkering in all the tools, and he's got her special unicorn helmet on. And I really want you to discuss the five senses with your students when you're reading this book. When she is on the ride along with her father, she talks about, seeing her father covered in sawdust and, the smells of a hard day's work. So I want your students to be active listeners and active participants in the story by, using a thumbs up if they can, figure out one of the senses in the story that Daisy is describing. So moving on from that, she goes into, I love the Spanish and English words that are, peppered throughout the book. I love how, just as a mom would say, be careful, con cuidado, be careful. As dad and daughter are rolling through the driveway and taking off, I just love how this illustration feels like a superhero movie or a superhero cartoon. And it just, as a flash of lightning, they are on their adventure. I love how they talk about the changing of the community, the history. You know how I love a good historical context in a book. And it talks about the ever-changing community and the ever-changing evolution of what a community, what it was and what it is turning into be. And you're going to see landmarks that she's going to describe. Her Abuelita's church, and going and, running into the school librarian and, learning about where is their favorite places to get toys and shaved ice and the sights and sounds, and her even imagining what it was like, at the turn of the century where, citrus groves. And I didn't know this. I read the author's note. And thank you, Isabel, about Corona being the lemon capital of the world at the time, and how the immigrants that migrated to this part of the country did have a hand in that production and in the cultivation and the agriculture. She talks about the path that was the Grand Boulevard that had a historical race around the famous loop around the town. And I really love showing and having that juxtaposition of our students too, to know businesses that have been around for a long time are now shuttering their doors. And I wonder what happens to them and their families. And showing the hard work of people of the Latinx community in the story of being the builders, the foundation layers of that community, and having that pride in their hard work and their history and their ancestry. And it just continues to show the ever-evolving changes of the neighborhood, but also the vibrancies, the sights, the sounds, the feels, the laughter, the joy. It is just an amazing story. And like I said, I don't want to give away too much of the book, but I love how, she's greeted with her abuelito and her abuelita. They still have their old yellow house, and the seeds of the lemons that abuelito used to pick were far from here. So just showing the connections of this tree in her grandparents' home and where that seed started. My mom, it was so sweet. She said when we were together a few weeks ago, we were in Dallas, Texas, and there were a bunch of acorns underneath this oak tree. And my mom said, "Oh, that is an oak tree that hasn't been stepped on yet." So thinking about the lemon seed and how it becomes the lemon tree. Those are the things you can depict and share with your students. And just, the adventure of riding, in the back of a motorcycle as a kid, and, meeting, her Papi's, colleagues, and listening to the joys and the sounds of the music and the noise of the construction tools, and just feeling her imagination just take off. Wink, wink. I love a good pun. And so get this book. It is beautiful. It makes me want to go visit this part of our country and see, but of Corona, California. Read the author's note. I always say this, educators, before you make your lesson plan, read the author's note first. I was guilty in the beginning of my teaching days where I just find the book I wanted, read it real quick, and I was making my lesson. But it really gives you wonderful background knowledge about the story and her love letter to the city that she grew up in. And this is just a great book. I highly recommend it. Now, if you love what you are hearing on the show today, remember you can broaden your horizon and embrace multicultural education by subscribing to my channel. Also, if you want to get some really good up-to-date information, be sure to check out my newsletter on jebaedmonds.com. Sign up so you can get more tidbits of information and book reviews that I share every week in real time, as well as diversity, equity, and inclusion business strategies to continue moving this place forward. That is all that I have for you today, and I will see you here same time next week. Bye-bye.